Hiya! Thank you for joining me today. Today I want to talk about Iron Fist, the latest in the list of TV shows been released by Marvel on Netflix. Obviously great for a binge watch since they all come out in one go, you can get your way through them. So this is the 5th series, 4 shows so far, 5th series. Daredevil Series 1, Series 2, we've had Jessica Jones, we've had Luke Cage, and then we've had the Iron Fist. So Iron Fist, in case you're not aware of it, tells the story of Danny Rand, who is a billionaire who as a boy is lost, let's say, overseas, gets lost in a plane crash, and eventually comes back and is revealed to have the power of the Iron Fist. The Iron Fist basically being the channeling of one's chi into the fist, which is then used to extract vengeance on bad guys. I really enjoyed this series. I know there's been a lot of backlash about this. The Rotten Tomatoes score for the series is woeful. It was under 20% the last time I saw, well under 20%, which I think is pretty harsh given the series. I've heard that may have something to do with the fact that the critics were basically reviewing it based on the first 6 episodes in the series. It's a 13 episode series, so they were only really reviewing the first half. And I think you could be forgiven for looking at the first half of the series and perhaps thinking that it wasn't making really good pace and certainly wasn't progressing the story particularly quickly. The show itself tells the story of Danny Rand. It's in the world of the rest of those superheroes, so we're again set very much in New York. We have the Hand appearing once again, Madame Gao leading the Hand appearing again. We have Claire, the hopefully soon to become night nurse character, who is very prevalent in the show once again. So she's our through link, our Nick Fury for this soon to be Defenders series. And the idea obviously is that Marvel is going to try and pull all these things together and come up with a 4-person Defenders squad that includes obviously Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones and the Daredevil, Matt Murdock. So I'm really looking forward to the coming of the Defenders series. I'd really enjoyed the work that was done in Daredevil. Daredevil's still my favourite of the 4 shows themselves. Jessica Jones, actually I really enjoyed that. I thought that's probably still my second favourite, followed by, I'd say Luke Cage and Iron Fist are pretty much 50-50. Luke Cage and Iron Fist certainly have the same kind of issues within them. Luke Cage I thought was fantastic in the first half and it petered off in the second half. I thought everything with Cottonmouth up front was fantastic. Once Cottonmouth died and you get a new, let's say, antagonist introduced into the series, for me it lost a little bit of its interest for me. Cottonmouth as an antagonist was far better. Much more dynamic, much more involved, much more interesting as an enemy for Luke Cage. And I thought that was a bit of a shame. This one takes a bit of time to get going, so Iron Fist does take a bit of time to get going for me. But I really enjoyed the acting. One thing it reminded me of massively was the basic plot points of Arrow. So a lot of things are very similar. You have your billionaire who's lost at sea, thought to be dead, comes back with mysterious kung fu fighting skills and is sort of trying to get their company back, pursuing evil going on within the city. You have the current person who's sort of nefarious, hiding in the background, similar to the role that was the role of Malcolm in Arrow. There's a lot of similarities between the 2 series. What I did find though is that I thought the acting in Iron Fist was really, really good. I thought overall it had some great characters, it had good dynamics between those characters. I liked the way it used a couple of people like Claire, like Madame Gao to tie this into the overall Marvel Netflix world. And I particularly liked the way that they approached the character of Danny Rand. Now, a lot of people have said they felt the first sort of half of the series was quite slow paced and dull. For me, given the material, given the backstory that they gave Danny, I felt it had to be that way. I didn't really see what they could have done about that. Without going into too much detail, the point is that Danny disappears as a boy. You know, he's I don't know exactly how old he was when he disappeared, but he was very young, so he may have been 12, 13, something like that. I'm guessing in that kind of age. So this is a 12, 13-year-old who comes back 15 years later with the skills of the Iron Fist, and he's been in basically in heaven, come out for years, and he's been trained, but he's been trained by monks. Now, as far as I can gather from this first series, he knows nothing of women. He knows nothing of subterfuge. He knows nothing of friendships or bonds. He does have friends, but to him, he's coming back almost with childlike eyes, and he's both very petulant and naive at the same time. And I think that was something they had to try to show. You can't have someone go away when they're in their, let's say, their early teens, and come back as a fully rounded adult. He hasn't had the experiences that other people have had. He went away with an iPod. His iPod, very Star-Lord, is the only thing that he's got left to connect himself to that previous life. Everything else seems to have been kind of stripped away from him. And as he comes back into his life, there's a lot sort of missing from the way he approaches people. He doesn't know how to approach people. There were times when I thought that the way he dealt with the two children of his father's partner, business partner, so Ward and Joy, I thought was interesting. And at times I found it quite annoying, the degree to which he trusted them, and after lots of things had happened to him, you know, they'd basically been quite mean to him, particularly Ward, he still trusted them. And then you get little snippets of information and characterization that really help you to understand. You know, Ward always was a bit of an a-hole to Danny. He was always kicking him in the balls, as he says, and locking him in cupboards and basically being terrible to him. And yet Danny was homeschooled. He doesn't appear to have much in the way of childhood friends. He doesn't have anyone to sort of go back to. These are the only people he knows from his past. Whatever he's running away from, as the Iron Fist, he is drawn to these people. They're the only people within his past that he can actually talk to. And I felt that was understandable. You could understand how he would be aware of how they've been treating him quite badly, and yet at the same time would also be willing to forgive and willing to bond with them at any sign of compassion or assistance or forgiveness or help or recognition or whatever it is that they give to him. He's quite keen to accept that at face value. And they use those early episodes to paint a really good picture of this sort of boy in a man's body, with this strength, this ability, but without necessarily the emotional maturity to deal with complicated adult environments and situations. And that for me was the purpose of those early episodes. So if you've watched it, if you find it quite dull going, it's worth pushing through it. I think it gives you good backstory. I have to say, I wish they'd found a way to do it better. I think they could have found a way to do it better. So in that sense, it's by no means perfect, and it's certainly not the best of the Marvel Netflix series. For me, it's a 7 out of 10. It's good. It's still good television. It's very easy to digest. It's simple to get through, and it has a great continuation of this storyline that's been laid out over the other previous series. I have to say, I think that if I hadn't already seen Daredevil, Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, I think I'd probably be a little bit less forgiving of Iron Fist, because it does ride, for me, you can watch it on its own, but it does ride a little on the coattails of the great work that's been done before. So that is one thing to say as a downside. I think it would certainly get a lower score if it wasn't a piece of a puzzle slotting in with those other excellent pieces. Essentially the quality of Daredevil, and for me the quality of Jessica Jones, are lifting, just slightly lifting the Iron Fist score in a way that wouldn't happen if it was a standalone show and had no connection to other things. So that's my review of Iron Fist. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great show, easy to binge watch, easy to get through, and very much looking forward to Defenders. So, any comments from anyone? If you've got anything you wanted to comment on with regard to this, then please leave me some comments down below. Look forward to hearing from you. I'm going to be doing a few more of these, hopefully get out to see some more films later this week, so quite looking forward to that. And yes, look forward to talking to you again soon. Okay, thanks so much, and bye! Bye!